Welcome back to Personal Pension Radio. I'm Craig Strom. Yes, you heard it. I'm the income engineer, and I'm back in the RV in my backyard. A number of you have emailed me and messaged me asking, where's the income engineer? Have you gone into retirement? Have you become a hermit in the woods of Maine? No. I've actually been working on compliance and trying to figure out how to keep the flow of the podcast and the videos and everything going while also staying within the guidelines of an actual, real, certified financial planner. I'm not a financial entertainer like Dave Ramsey or Susie Orman or Kramer on TV. I am a legit, certified financial planner, an investment advisor representative, and I've got to follow the rules set for investment advisor representatives. Haha. So in the essence of making sure that I do it right, I had actually taken a pause on continuing to post and record new episodes because I want to make sure they fit into a process correctly so I don't get in trouble and step on any third rail compliance issues. So I am back here in the RV in my backyard. Now, the RV may not be here for a while longer. Those of you who listen to the show on a regular basis, you know that I've been trying to help a friend actually rent out their RV or now maybe sell their RV so they can get out from underneath the joy of owning an RV that costs a lot of money that you don't use very often. So it may be sold. So this might be one of the last videos I do. And those of you listening in podcast land on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, yes, this show is on YouTube. You can find Craig with a K Strom, the income engineer, on YouTube. So be sure to check it out. Now, I want to touch on something before I jump into the topic today because it is a very serious topic. It makes the hair on the back of my neck stand up. It gives me chills when I have these kind of topics to share with you. But it's important to set the tone for this channel. If you're new to Craig Strom, the income engineer, you might think, income, why isn't he talking more about income or investments or things like that? Well, this channel is really about being able to build a connection, a relationship with, if you will, a certified financial planner. Someone who's got decades of experience as a financial planner and is also a paralegal at a great law firm. We do estate planning and business planning and very high-end planning for everyone who might need it on the law firm side. And I'm also a certified financial planner and investment advisor representative on the advisory company. Now, you heard me mention a moment ago, this podcast is about building a relationship. You have the opportunity to listen to this podcast or watch me on YouTube to get an idea of whether or not you might want to reach out and actually make a phone call or send an email to Craig with a K at CraigStrom, STROM.com, and get in touch with your own specific questions, your own specific situation to review maybe your retirement income plan or update your living trust, whatever it might be. This podcast is first and foremost a way to build a relationship, to have an ongoing connection with a financial planner. Now, my mission, as you might have guessed, as the income engineer, is retirement income planning. Retirement income does not get a lot of attention from the Wall Street community because, if we're honest, there's no money to be made on Wall Street, for the most part, teaching people how to take money out of Wall Street. Think about it for a minute. Does Wall Street have any financial incentive to teach me how to teach you to take maximum income out of the Wall Street system? Of course not. Good business would say, spend more money getting people to put money in Wall Street than taking it out of Wall Street. My role as the income engineer was really born out of my realization years ago that my Wall Street educators never really taught me retirement income economics. The economics of retirement income, distributing money from your retirement accounts and living in retirement, those economics are completely different than accumulating wealth for retirement. It's a very different set of rules. And I just headlong into the conversation around retirement income planning. Of course, the Income Engineer registered national trademark was born out of that as well. So if you have questions about your retirement income plan, if you don't have a retirement income plan, which most people don't, they have an investment account with this brokerage firm or that big financial house or their banker, and you may have never heard, what is your retirement income plan? Because I tell you, saving and getting X rate of return and compound interest and all that, they don't matter as much as you think when it comes to retirement income. So if you have questions, send me an email, Craig with a K at craigstrom.com. Now, in addition to conversations around investing and life insurance and annuities and all these various pieces and reverse mortgages and real estate and all this stuff that might go into an accumulation plan or a conversation about retirement income, in addition to that, I do focus heavily on building the financial castle correctly. And here's what I mean by that. Building the financial castle correctly means starting in the right order. That when you build your financial castle, you've got to start with protection first. Castles of old, they would build them in defensible locations, protected locations, high up on a hill, surrounded by water, in an area that would be hard for attackers, robbers to come in and penetrate that castle. When they found a good location for the castle, then they would build it on a strong foundation, and then they would build a grand castle. So in the relative terms of financial tactics, as it relates to building assets and wealth, protecting the wealth, protecting your estate is number one. Number one. Then a strong foundation, which in my opinion is liquidity, cash, access to cash. That's powerful to have. And then you build and invest from a protected, sure, solid foundation. That's what's missing in many conversations with just straight up investment advisors, Wall Street only advisors. It's invest, invest, invest. If you get a flat tire, it's because you didn't invest enough. If you lost your dog, clearly you didn't invest enough. You need to invest. Well, what's the answer, investment person? You should have invested more. That's not always the answer. The first thing that should happen in any good retirement income planning investment conversation is a discussion about protection. Because if your estate, if your investments are not protected, and someone could effectively come in and sue you and take some or all of your wealth because it wasn't protected, well then so what? Who cares if you have a retirement income plan or a this or that? I mean, so what? If someone can come in and take it, then it's basically ruins the plan. So I always start with protection. And that's why I guess it's important to remind you that as a retirement income conversation may be something that you're interested in, if it's not with me, the income engineer, that's fine. Go visit with your investment advisor and start a conversation with he or she about retirement income. But I would suggest this. Listen carefully. Where do they start the conversation? If they're not starting the conversation with making sure that there is a fence around your estate, there's a fence around your assets, that no outside forces, creditors, predators, floozies and gigolos, nobody can come in and get your stuff, you're missing a critical piece of the conversation, okay? So that's why what I want to share with you as I lead into this story. I think it's important to focus in on protection in a conversation that is often completely missed when people meet with their Wall Street only financial advisors. It's just missed. So let me share this email that I received in a subsequent phone call. Okay, I'm going to share this email. It's a hard topic, but I want you to pay close attention to this because it could happen to anybody. So I get an email that says this: "Hi Craig, a friend introduced me to your podcast." Thank you very much. I appreciate that. "And I guess it was meant to be. Last week, my son crashed our boat with 3 of his friends in the boat with him." Whoa. Now, I actually did reach out and get in touch with this mother who is just racked with stress out of her mind. And she said they're all alive, her son and his 3 friends that were in the boat with them. Well, here's the deal. They live here in Southern California. They live in Southern California, and they have a vacation home where they have a boat on the lake, which is very nice. That's great. And their son is 17 years old, really should not be operating the boat by himself. So one of their older friends, his older friends, came over with 2 other friends. And the older friend, their family has a boat on the lake as well. Mom said, as long as older friend is driving the boat, you guys can go out and have a good time. And they went out and they went into town to get some ice cream or yogurt or whatever. Well, somewhere along the journey, right, they might have gone to get frozen yogurt or walk around town or whatever. When they got back to the boat, her 17-year-old son ended up taking the boat out of the village and heading out on the lake to race around with his friends. I did this when I was a kid, folks, so I know what they were doing. They were racing around on the boat. He was driving probably way too fast, and he wasn't paying attention, and he actually ran into a dock, a floating wharf. We used to call it a floating dock that, you know, kids would play on, a wooden plastic dock in the middle of the, not in the middle, but near the shore. He ran into it with the boat, which subsequently caused him to lose control, and then ran into another dock and several boats close to shore. He was injured badly. The son was injured badly. Head injury, now memory loss, concussion, broken bones in his face. 2 of his friends were injured with broken arm, broken shoulders, lacerations, and then his 3rd friend was launched out of the boat and ultimately crashed into another boat and broke hips and a variety of other things. It's really bad. The 3rd friend is actually still in a hospital weeks later in a medically induced coma. Yeah. So this is the story that I hear. Well, wow. She's terrified. Mom is terrified that this has happened and her son was driving the boat. It's their boat. Thankfully, I found out right away. Please tell me the boat was included on your insurance. Yes, the boat was fully insured. It has a $300,000 liability limit, meaning that regardless of how many people in the boat, the liability limit for the insurance company, $300,000. We have 3 children, basically, one adult kid, teenager, and 2 underage kids in the boat with their son. Do you think maybe the creditor claims could go above $300,000? Oh yes. Oh yes, there's all kinds of really terrible things that could come that way. Now, my next question. Do you have an umbrella liability insurance policy? No. Folks, if you're listening to this, if you're watching me on YouTube, please get an umbrella liability policy attached to your homeowner's policy and make sure that it covers your vehicles. Make sure that it covers your cars, your motorcycles, your side-by-sides, your snowmobiles, your boats, whatever it is. Make sure that your umbrella liability policy is attached to your house and covers any vehicle that you could be on the road with. Some of you may remember I told this story. This is a side story of a person that I met that crashed her golf cart while intoxicated in her gated community. She crashed her golf cart. Thankfully, she didn't hurt anybody. She hurt someone's vehicle and she hurt herself a little bit, but she had no coverage on the golf cart, no umbrella coverage. Had she hit a child or another resident of her community, oh my gosh, she could have easily been nailed with a massive lawsuit that would have gone right to her house and right to her savings accounts and taken things from her. So back to this lady with her son in the boat, okay? They did not have an umbrella liability policy. So the maximum amount of protection that her insurance will provide, $300,000. That's it. Her homeowner's insurance is not going to come in and cover that, because this would have been something that could have been covered under an umbrella policy, but it was instead covered under the boating policy that she had, okay? Now, she also owns a rental property with her husband. They have a rental property here in Southern California, and they also own a small business. Now, this is a small business. It's a pest control business. They built this business out of a garage and nothing. I got a little details, and they've been very fortunate. They do well. They've done very well with their pest control business. But here's the thing. Their pest control business is an S Corp. And you think, oh, no problem, the S Corp is protected. Ugh. No, it is not protected. The S Corporation holding the pest control business, that's good if the liability happens inside the pest control business. It's hard for a liability to get out of that pest control business and then go after their personal assets. In this case, the liability happened outside the S Corp. And what do mom and dad own? They own stock in an S Corp. In a civil judgment, it is entirely possible for the courts to award judgment and award shares of stock that people own. And if you own shares of stock in a valuable little company, they can award and force you to give shares of stock in your company to the plaintiff, to that civil judgment. So the S Corp, the pest control business, completely vulnerable from outside attack. Oh, okay. So now this is why the hair on my neck stood up and why I start asking questions, okay? The rental property, it's in joint tenancy. There is insurance on the rental property, but it is not going to help in regards to the boat. Two separate insurance companies. The policies are not connected, and there's no umbrella. There's no umbrella policy, okay? So the rental property itself is not going to provide additional protection. However, there's a substantial amount of equity in the rental property. The rental property itself is completely vulnerable, meaning if they had a judgment against them in favor of the plaintiff in a civil judgment, they will likely lose that rental property. No doubt about it. They will likely just lose the rental property to the civil judgment, because the judgment, in my opinion, in my humble 25-year certified financial planner and my little old paralegal background with a phenomenal law firm, it is likely that they will not win a civil case. In this case, they'll lose, and it'll be judgment in favor of plaintiff, and they will lose that rental property. They'll lose that rental property, okay? Now, I went through this situation with Shauna, changing the name, of course, but with Shauna about this situation, okay? Their son has operated the boat with parental supervision, with mom and dad in the boat, you know, with them, and that's all good. But unfortunately, he didn't even have a driver's license. He's not a licensed driver. He's not supposed to be operating this boat by himself. And he remember, their son is out of the hospital with memory loss issues, cannot even remember the accident. They can't remember, he can't remember the accident. So she is stressed beyond imagination. So I'm trying to talk through this and pull details out just to see what might be there for protection. So I steered the conversation back to the assets and found out they own a home here in Southern California, and their home is worth a lot of money, but their equity in their home is about $500,000. Well, here in California, there is homestead protection, usually for at least $600,000 of equity, meaning that $600,000 of equity, which is more than the equity they have, is protected. So their primary residence is most likely completely safe in this scenario. Their rental home is not. Their rental home is not in a limited liability company. It's owned jointly by Shauna and her husband. It is absolutely subject to attack. Now, Shauna and her husband both have 401k accounts. These are 401k accounts with current employers and 401k money they had rolled over to IRA accounts when they had left other jobs, previous jobs. The 401k assets are federally protected. Some, again, you've listened to this show maybe before, you might have heard me say, the primary beneficiary of a 401k is the beneficiary that gets paid first if you take money out. Well, that's the federal government. They get their tax money first. So the federal government rules say 401k assets cannot be lost to civil judgment. That's why OJ is still rich, because his money were in federally protected retirement accounts. Can't touch them. Unfortunately, the 401k accounts for Shauna and her husband are not really huge, but they are protected assets, okay? Now, the big one that they really weren't familiar with and didn't understand what was at risk, because they were worried about their rental property and their business. What they didn't understand is that in California and in many states, their wages are also subject to garnishment. That's a scary prospect where they could garnish wages, and in some cases I've heard up to 30% of your wages for a decade to settle civil judgments. In this case, unfortunately and fortunately, Shauna and her husband have some pretty significant assets that a creditor could go after, and they might go after wage garnishment as a last resort, okay? Here's the thing. My advice to Shauna was be very careful with her communication with her son's family, friends, the family of her son's friends who were injured in this situation. Be very guarded. Beware. Maybe even contact a civil defense attorney to be prepared for what could come. And as friendly as everybody is, 2 weeks or a day before the accident, everything is different now. Everything is different, and Shauna and her husband, you really have to lock it in and protect and get ready. Her question to me, though, was, is there anything that we can do? Is there anything that we can do? The answer was maybe, really maybe, right? Can you create a limited liability company to wrap around your property after the accident and before the lawsuit? Because we don't know if there's going to be a lawsuit coming, but could we wrap a limited liability company around that rental property? Yes. Would it be subject to the rules, as my attorneys have explained it to me, of fraudulent conveyance or fraudulent transfer, where you know that something bad has happened, that it is entirely possible, maybe even likely, that a lawsuit is coming your way, and you intentionally move assets and put walls around those assets so that people can't come in and take them? Could another lawyer go, no, They clearly did this right after the accident. They've owned this rental property for 15 years, and they just did this limited liability company after the accident. Isn't that a little convenient, Your Honor? Is it possible then that a court says and blows that deal up and brings that rental property right back on the block for creditors? Yes. It's called fraudulent conveyance or fraudulent transfer. Essentially, you can't buy more car insurance or get an umbrella liability insurance policy added to cover the accident that happened yesterday. You can't crash the car and then call Geico and say, ooh, I would really like to have a little more insurance. Could I bump up my car insurance? No, you can't fix it after the accident. When a lawsuit is imminent, unfortunately, there's not a lot of legal things that you can do. Now, what can you do as a listener to this show? You're watching on YouTube, hit the like button. Give me a thumbs up if you're learning stuff, if you're being motivated right now. Big old thumbs up, share it, like it, subscribe to the YouTube channel, leave a comment and let me know what you think. But more importantly, get your umbrella insurance done right. Make sure that you know what your protection really looks like. You got a moped in the garage that your kids ride around your community on the moped. It's not insured on your homeowners or your car insurance policy. Wrong. Fix it. Fix it right now. My little mini truck outside the door of this RV, absolutely insured. Where do I drive it? Only around my neighborhood. I really don't go on the freeway or big roads with it. But is it insured? You better believe it's insured. Absolutely. Get that done. If you own a business, if you've got a successful business, a growing business, and you have an S-Corp structure, and you have never heard about converting to a limited liability company, which is much more protected when it's done right, much more protection when it's done right. If you've never heard of that, send me an email, Craig with a K at craigstrom.com. I want to help you make sure that your estate, that your castle is fully protected so that you can build the best retirement income plan and the best retirement that you can possibly have going into the future. That's what I want to do. I want to help you do that. Get motivated, get excited, give me the thumbs up, subscribe, send me an email. I hope you found this valuable. I'm going to calm down now. I'll talk to you again real soon. Take care. Bye.